Long waits, longer walks, in some cases, frustrated commuters are the outcome of the Matatu operators' vow to strike and the government's crackdown on those who are non-compliant to the Mishuki rules. And we have the situation checks and updates from various parts across the country in this bulletin. Very good afternoon to you. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi, coming to you live from the Nation Centre. Well, the updates are devolved with Sharon Baranga at the Motor Vehicle Inspection Unit in Nairobi, where Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i and the Police Inspector General Joseph Boynet are expected to visit. At the railway station, Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia issued a statement and Seth Olale shall appraise us on it. Kevin Mutai is in Mombasa with another update on the same. All that coming up. Well, thousands of commuters were today stranded on roads and highways due to a matatu strike sparked by the enforcement of the Mishuki rules, which has paralysed public transportation. Some chose to walk to work as car owners flooded the highways with private vehicles. Traffic was at a standstill in most of the routes heading to town, as Charity Mwangi reports.
This is the picture of the early morning rush. The frantic speed that Nairobi is accustomed to was this morning replaced with long queues at the bus stops or a long stroll to town for them whose patience ran thin. On the highways, the situation spelt doom, even for those who had the means of transport to get to work. The roads were full of private cars. It was bumper-to-bumper traffic and snail-like pace. There was heavy police presence that prompted many to keep their vehicles off the roads. For them who were lucky to catch the few public service vehicles on the roads, had to dig deeper into their pockets as the matatu operators hiked their fares.
Unalipa 150. Utafanyia fare? Bado unaogopa kwenda? Kazi, jioni utarudi na nini?
Ile asubuhi nilitoka kwa nyumba mapema, nikingojea gari ikuje. Nimesimama nikangojea train ikakuja kama imejaa, nikaambiwa tungoje mpaka saa 2:30. Sasa tutangoja mpaka saa ngapi na magari hakuna?
A cross-section of matatu operators in Embakasi have complained of there being favoritism for vehicles owned by high-profile individuals, as most of them remained on the roads despite not having complied with the recently reintroduced Michuki traffic rules.
Ukitafuta vitu zote uweke rasmi upatiane 1500 ndio upatiwe paji. Kama una 1500 upatiwe vitu. Hakuna mtu anakusainia.
Nimekaa hapa kutoka saa 11 hakuna magari. Hii sheria yenye mpya imekuja haiwezi tusaidia.
In Mombasa, many people were forced to walk as there were very few public service vehicles operating. There was a considerable degree of police presence too, as the traffic officers sought to enforce the much anticipated rules. In Voi, buses that would have on any other day parked at the bus terminus were missing in action as the shortage of transportation became greatly felt by residents hoping to travel to Mombasa. The situation was the same in Kabarnet as commuters remained stranded at the bus stops. Along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway, vehicles were stopped and pulled off the road by traffic officers for what they term as confusion on the finer details of the Michuki rules.
Pale mwanzo kabisa wakati Michuki alisema tuweke yellow continuous line pande zote mbili za gari na nyuma. Alafu kukafanywa amendment, that is back in 2005 January, tukaambiwa tukue na broken line ya yellow line pande zote mbili.
Polisi wanasema wanataka ile continuous yellow line, na NTV wanasema wanataka ile broken. Sasa confusion inaingia tu hapo.
In Molo, Probox drivers who use the 5-seater vehicles for public transportation worry that the new traffic laws may deny them the means of earning a living.
Hii Probox imeandika vijana zaidi ya 400. Sasa vijana 400 kweli wataenda wapi bana Matiang'i?
And in Embu, matatu operators say that unknown people posing as police officers have been demanding bribes from them, making it difficult for them to do business or even take their vehicles to the garage.
Walikuwa hawana uniform, kwa hivyo ni wezi. Kama askari hana uniform, si ni mwizi.
They say that though most of the vehicles have complied with the rules, the conductors may need more time to do so. The government is insistent that matatu operators must comply. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
All right, well, from that, let's take you to Mombasa, where residents also woke up to a transport crisis, as many of the public service vehicle owners there also kept their vehicles off the roads to avoid having them impounded in the government's operation against PSVs that do not follow the Mishuki rules. Well, by 5 a.m, the few vehicles available in Mombasa had increased their fares as hundreds of commuters chose to walk to their destinations amid the matatu shortage. Let's now join NTV's Kevin Mutai in Mombasa to give us details on what the situation is over there at the coast. Kevin, what do you have for us?
Well, thank you so much, Smriti. It has been a nightmare for residents here in Mombasa from 5 a.m. in the morning when this particular exercise started, and hundreds and thousands of commuters have been forced to walk and to get to various destinations. This exactly where I am right now is where the operation has been conducted from 5 a.m. and as you can see, it's along the Nyali bridge, and as you can see, people are walking. There's the minimum, or rather the less public service vehicles that are currently operating. We've received reports that they've hiked the fares, and of course now people depending on tuk-tuks and borders to get to their respective destinations. But of course there have been cases of hiked fares. Remember, this is a biting issue with some of the public service operators complaining that they were not given enough time by the government to prepare and of course get everything ready, and the paperwork also with their vehicles. Most have chosen to actually withdraw their vehicles from the roads for fear of being impounded. Remember, this is an exercise that began 5 a.m. from this particular place. And quickly, I'd just like to talk to the county commander, that is Johnston Ipara, to just give us an update of how the operation has been since they began at 5 a.m. Thank you, sir. Welcome to NTV. This particular operation started at 5 a.m. this morning. How has it been so far?
I want first of all to thank Kenyans for being cooperative. We have conducted a very smooth operation. Up to this moment, I want to report to Kenyans, all has been well along Nyali Road and Nairobi Road. And particularly in Nyali, we were able to detain 7 vehicles and 5 people who are found excess in the vehicle. And in total, we've been able to detain vehicles and people 199. Cases detected were 356. That is not the end. That marks the beginning of a tough journey, a journey that will ensure everybody complies with the laws of this country. What you are seeing is the pain that we are paying for people to fail to comply with the laws of this country. As maybe some people may give excuses that why now? This laws has been there for over 10 years. And the excuses of some people saying that the governors are not available is not here nor there. What we are saying, we are here. We are committed to ensure that everybody complies with this particular law. We shall be conducting day and night operations along our 2 main roads, Malindi, Mombasa, Mombasa, Nairobi roads.
Lastly, commuters have been venting out their frustrations. They're saying that they've been walking over long distances to get to their workplaces and their respective destinations. What can you tell us about that?
Number one, first of all, I want to remind Kenyans, this is the cost of those who like to practice impunity. And we are not going to entertain that. And even though we suffer today, tomorrow we shall enjoy the fruits of what you are doing today. Okay. So they should not complain.
Okay. Thank you so much. That is Johnston Ipara, the county commander here in Mombasa. Remember that in this particular region, we have over 4,800 public service vehicles, and I'm told that a few that tried to operate in the morning, they've impounded already 87, and of course arrested 5 people whom they say they did not adhere to the traffic rules, that is the enforcement of the Michuki rules. But for now, from now, Smriti, let me hand it over back to you as we go around to try and check on what's happening along the roads in this particular coastal city of Mombasa, and we will be bringing you updates in our subsequent bulletins later in the day. Back to you, Smriti.
Kevin Mutai coming to us live from Mombasa. Thanks very much indeed. Well, the government says that it will not budge on enforcing the Mishuki rules in public transport that came into enforcement today. The Cabinet Secretary in charge of transport, James Macharia, has directed the Kenya Railways Corporation to increase the number of trips made by trains on routes they ply to accommodate the huge number of Kenyans stranded as a result of the ongoing matatu strike. Seth Olale now joins us live from Nairobi's railway station to give us a brief of what the CS said. Seth?
Thank you so much, Smriti. Actually, the CS said that the trains will be increased from 12 to 18. That means 6 more trains that will operate on all the 4 routes within Nairobi County and also in its environs. And in particular, this is just a typical setup of one of the trains that is scheduled to depart here at the Kenya Railway Station at the Nairobi Terminal, and it will go towards Syokimau. First of all, Makadara stop, and then Imara Daima, and also Syokimau. This is just one of the trains. We are expecting 12, actually 18 of them. And this is an announcement that was made by the CS who actually toured this particular this train station earlier, and in fact the CS had this to say, because he said that the government will not backtrack towards implementing what it is saying, that it is reviving the Michuki rules. So according to the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, James Macharia, there is no going back, there is no U-turn for the government. This let me just play that clip where he briefed the media earlier on in regards to the current transport situation in the country.
We spoke to some of the passengers and they made a number of requests. Most of them are asking us to increase the number of trains, and this is what we plan to do, because they are happy that they managed to get to work despite the challenges which we have today in terms of the vehicles, the public service vehicles. So we shall be working closely with the management of Kenya Railways to make sure that that is done. So very soon, this is a service which all of us will be proud to use. Of course, we shall be upgrading the equipment.
James Macharia, the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, addressing Kenyans on the current situation on transport crisis in the nation. And right now I'm joined by the Acting Managing Director of Kenya Railways Corporation, Philip Mainga. Indeed, 6 more trains for Kenya Railways, but just tell us about the safety of the passengers, because in the morning we saw some of the trains were overloaded and raising some very serious security concerns. What is Kenya Railways doing in terms of guaranteeing passengers of their safety? That is the first question.
Yeah, regarding the safety of our clients or our passengers, what we have done is, because of this scrambling for seats and space within the train, we have put security measures in all our stations and all in our outs where the train stops, to make sure that once the train is full, the other passengers will have to wait. And we will put a barrier to end entry in our trains after they are full.
And if indeed they are full and they are ferrying passengers to all the destined destination, talk about what the servicing of these particular trains, and why you had you planned for this. And also another issue was in regards to the fares, because we are being told that the CS actually announced that it is a 10% discount from the normal fare. Just clarify that one.
We were not really prepared, but as you know, we run these services on a daily basis, and we carry about 30,000 passengers per day. But arising out of the need for the country and the safety and the requirements by the government for us to implement, for the government to implement the Michuki rules, what we have done is to increase our numbers in terms of the coaches, in terms of our locomotives. What I'm saying is, we are going to do around 64 trips per day. Initially, we were doing about 30. So you can see, yeah, we move it.
Thank you so much, Philip Mainga, the Acting Managing Director for Kenya Railways Corporation, saying it's a total of 64 trips a day for Kenya Railways, just to ensure that commuters get where they are supposed to be at the right time, and they have Kenya Railways Corporation has guaranteed security for all the passengers in the coming days. That is the situation here, Smriti, at the Kenya Railways Nairobi station, and of course we'll give you all the highlights in our subsequent bulletin, Smriti.
Thanks very much for that update. Let's take you to the Motor Vehicle Inspection Unit. That's here in Nairobi, where the Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i is at the moment. We can bring you live pictures from there. Let's listen in fact.
It's time for us to go back to common sense, honestly. If you have a government that has got a police department, why do you need to pay anyone to protect you? You have a right to do a business. You buy a matatu, you go to the road, you do business. You earn some money from it, you pay your loan, you look after your children and raise your family. Why do you need anyone to protect you? All these characters who go around the bus stops and so on, say, oh, you know, give us 100,000 so that we can protect you. We want to remove all those people so that investors in the public transport sector can actually earn their sweat. Number two, you know this, and I keep telling people every day, don't forget one thing. We are also people who have families. How would you feel if your daughter, your sister, or your wife is being manhandled by some faceless characters at bus stops? The way they are touching our ladies all over, hustling people. Would you want to live in that kind of society? It will not happen again. We are determined to be in this for the whole hog. And we are not relenting. So those who are saying, oh, we are withdrawing transport, so we can negotiate, they can keep their vehicles at home as long as they please. We are not changing. The laws have been there and they are existing. There is nothing we have invented. So kuanza kusurura hapa kutuambia, blackmail and so on and so forth, it will not happen. Everyone must live by the law. That is what it is. Now, Safari, we are not going to play those kinds of games. Let us meet, give us a few more days. To do what? So, tuendelee namna hii. Those who are complying are on the road. And those who are doing legitimate business, they can be sure their government will protect their business. The Inspector General of Police is here. And those who are willing to move forward, they can rest assured their government will support them in the investment. I want everybody who runs a matatu in this country to be secure, to go home knowing that they have earned their day's collection. If they have employees there, drivers, conductors, they pay them a salary, everyone is happy. Not characters who are seated somewhere under the sun, who do nothing, who expect to be paid. And then in the process, they harass our people, harass our daughters and sisters. That is not the kind of country we want to have. So, we are not relenting. So don't ask me about sustainability. This must be our way of life. Now, turudi bandi, mali tumetoka. IG, maybe you can say something.
No, you've said it all.
Yeah.
You've said it all.
Sawa.
So, perhaps I can just give a few figures. As of now, the figures that I'm receiving now, is close to 2,000 offenders have been arrested. That include matatu operators, including operators of private vehicles, and even users of PSV vehicles who have not fastened up. So when you get into a vehicle, ensure that the vehicle is compliant with the law. You comply with the law also as a driver or as a motorcycle rider. Because when you get behind a wheel or jump into a bike, you're assuming a very serious responsibility over your own life and the life of other road users. So as the CS has said, we must all act responsibly at all times. And we must go back to order and not the kind of disorder we have been witnessing on our highways. That will stop, and that has to stop. And we are not going back as police. Not at all.
And
thank you very much.
You go to the wards, you see people there who have been injured through border and so on. I even stop people and ask them, you are a border rider? Yes, okay. When did you go to school? How long did it take you to train to ride a border? Nilienda hapo nikalipa ngirimbili hapo nikafundishwa. By who? And we have so many of those accidents across the road every single day. We have those. Do we want to live in that kind of chaotic manner? Hapana. We are not going to accept this. So Kenyans, let's come to terms with this. We must go back to an orderly way of life, and that is going to be our way of life. We are not doing this campaign for a month or for 2 months or what have you. It's a total return. And as I said, it's not as if we did not expect this to happen. We expected that they would do this kind of games they are doing and so on, or withdraw the vehicles, we will strike and so on. They can keep their vehicles home, but we will not relent and we will not accept to be blackmailed by anybody. And anyway, the minister is working on those licenses together with NTSA, and then that's it. Because if you forfeit your licenses by staying away, the other Kenyans who want to invest in that sector, they should be supported, and we support them to carry on. Sasawa. Asante sana.
We need to say that those who want to test us, or those who want to tempt us by bringing to the highways vehicles that have not been tested and have no authority to come to the road, itakuwa ngumu sana. Itakuwa ngumu sana. Usilete gari yako kama hajapita sheria ile inatakikana. Ukilete, usiseme you are not want. Jaribu lete uone. Jaribu lete uone.
And this festive season, we must have a different festive season. Ila maneno tumekuwa zamani, watu wanakufa sijui nini. Hakuna.
All right, you've been listening in to Fred Matiang'i, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, and also Joseph Boynet, the Inspector General of Police, speaking at the Motor Vehicle Inspection Unit here in Nairobi about the crackdown on vehicles, that is public service vehicles, that are non-compliant with the reintroduced Mishuki rules, and with Fred Matiang'i saying it is time to go back to common sense. Of course, the reintroduction of these rules aim at bringing sanity and safety back onto the roads, something though that PSV operators say is draconian and the punishments too punitive. All right, let's leave the transport crisis for a moment and take you to a rather disturbing story. Lucy Wanjiku, a Form 1 student from Manunga Secondary School, was found murdered yesterday at her grandparents' home in Nyandarua County. Lucy had gone to visit her grandparents in Huhoini village, where she opted not to attend the Sunday service as she remained behind taking care of other family children. According to the children, while Lucy was taking a nap, there was a stranger who kept loitering around the compound, inquiring if there was any adult in the house. The man later sneaked into the house where Lucy was sleeping and allegedly killed the young girl by slashing her throat and leaving her with deep cuts on her face and hands before vanishing then without a trace. The body was taken to the JM Referral Mortuary by the police, and they're still continuing with investigations.
Nikiwa kanisani nilipata kupigwa simu na jirani ambaye alitufahamisha kwamba ameambiwa na watoto wadogo waliokuwa kwenye nyumbani ya kwamba Wanjiku wamejeruhiwa. Katika tulipokimbia nyumbani tulipata Wanjiku tayari amedungwa kisu, yuko sakafuni, na kiini cha haya mambo yote hatukujua. Ndipo tulipochukua hatua ya kupigia polisi simu na akaja, na kwa sababu tayari alikuwa ameaga wakapata kuchukua mwili.
All right, from that, let's shift focus now to the sports news. Warode Kiru is back from the United Kingdom and he delivers that bulletin. Welcome back, Warode.
Niaje.
Thank you, Smriti, for the warm welcome. It is nice to be back to warm Nairobi. It is time to play on NTV At One. I am Warode Kiru. The Confederation of African Football has called off the AFCON qualifier match between Kenya and Sierra Leone. The two teams were set to face off in a return leg on Sunday, 18th November, but CAF, in a statement to the Football Kenya Federation, called off the game. Sierra Leone are currently serving an indefinite suspension from all football activities imposed on them by FIFA. The Leone Stars, who beat Kenya 2-1 in the reverse fixture in June last year, also forfeited back-to-back qualification matches against Ghana last month. Kenya leads the group with 7 points, 4 more than second-placed Ghana and 6 ahead of Ethiopia, who are bottom. Sahib Omar claimed the 2018 National Autocross Championship at the Juja Autocross track, clocking the fastest timed heat and the total fastest time out of 3 heats. Omar clinched the title in fine fashion as there was relentless pressure from his mentor and teammate Rehan Shah, who came in with a total fastest time. The podium was completed in the 4-wheel drive category by Makwe Kimathi. Among those who graced the event that saw 20 drivers tackle the Juja track were KCB branch manager Ruiru branch James Kinga, as well as Kenya Motorsport Federation President Phineas Kimathi. Let's cross the borders, and Real Madrid notched a 4th straight win under interim coach Santiago Solari by winning 4-2 at Celta Vigo in La Liga. As La Liga Sunday on Sunday night, the win over Celta saw them climb to 6th on 20 points from 12 matches in a jam-packed La Liga table. Barcelona were left on 24 points with their 4-3 home defeat by Real Madrid. NTV Sport. Smriti.
Warode, thanks very much for that sports brief. As you said, more in our next bulletins. All right, well, that is where we leave it on NTV at 1 on this Monday afternoon. It is 1:30. Do enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Bye-bye.